Welcome to Zoe Stories. My girlfriend's bet turned me into a princess. I never expected my girlfriend's teasing bet to change my life. I always thought I had things figured out. Keep my head down, don't draw attention, and never let anyone know about the side of me I kept locked away. The side that longed for something softer, something prettier, something more like her. My name's Alex, 23. I work remote tech support for a security software company, which means I spend most days alone at my apartment, hopping between video calls and system logs. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills and lets me live under the radar. No one at work knows about my secret. Not even my best friend, Ryan. And, until recently, not even my girlfriend, Stella. Stella is everything I'm not. Bold, stylish, magnetic. The kind of girl who walks into a room and instantly becomes the center of it. She's a psychology grad student and part-time makeup influencer with over 50K followers. She's fearless. And me? I'm the guy behind the screen, too afraid to wear color in public. We've been dating for almost a year. And I've always wondered what she'd say if she knew the truth. How sometimes when I'm alone, I go to the closet where I've hidden a shoebox. Inside are things I can't explain to most people. A pair of soft pink panties, a silky chemise I ordered online in a moment of impulsive courage, and a lipstick I accidentally bought when Stella asked me to pick up her shade. It wasn't sexual, at least not entirely. It was something deeper. I didn't fully understand it myself, just that when I wore those things I felt lighter. Like I could breathe. Like I could let go of the rigid, anxious version of Alex the world expected and, for a moment, become someone else. Someone beautiful. But I never told Stella. Not because I didn't trust her. I was just scared she'd think I was broken. That I was hiding something perverted or shameful. So I kept it buried. Until last Friday night. It started as a joke. We were watching a makeover reality show, one of those ultra-glam, ugly duckling to diva transformations. Stella nudged me and said, "You'd actually make a cute girl if we ever tried." I laughed, awkwardly. Yeah, right. But she didn't let it go. "No, seriously," she said, eyeing me up and down. "You've got the cheekbones for it. I bet I could turn you into a total princess." My heart skipped. "Yeah, sure," I muttered, trying to play it off. And then she smiled that mischievous smile, the one she always gets when she's about to break the rules. "Bet you won't let me." I froze. "What?" "I dare you," she said. "Let me do your makeup. Full look. Wig, heels, dress. The works." I tried to laugh again, but something inside me stirred. A mix of panic and thrill. My palms were sweating. Was she serious? Did she know? Had she found the shoebox? "What's in it for me?" I asked, my voice dry. Her grin widened. "If you do it, I'll take you out to dinner. Anywhere you want. If you back out, you owe me a full weekend of foot massages and laundry duty." My heart thudded against my ribs. She made it sound so casual, like a fun little game. But for me, it was so much more. "Fine," I said, trying to sound indifferent. "You're on." Stella squealed and jumped up. "Tomorrow night, then. I'll get everything ready." She kissed my cheek and skipped off to her bedroom, humming. I just sat there, stunned. What had I just agreed to? That night, I couldn't sleep. Part of me was terrified. What if I enjoyed it too much? What if I couldn't go back to being just Alex? But another part of me couldn't wait. The next morning, she acted like it was no big deal. She was in full stylist mode, clothes laid out, brushes and palettes on the counter, a long honey blonde wig sitting on a stand like a crown. "You ready, princess?" she teased. Princess. The word echoed in my mind, like a key unlocking something long buried. "I guess so," I said softly. Stella gave me a quick wink. "You're going to look gorgeous." As she guided me to the mirror and began working her magic, I couldn't help but wonder. Was this still just a bet to her? A fun makeover challenge? Or did she suspect the truth? Did she know that this wasn't just a game for me? That this bet might awaken something I could never put back in the box? I had no idea what the night would bring. But one thing was certain. By the end of it, I wouldn't be the same Alex anymore. Stella was up before me the next morning, buzzing with energy, like she was getting ready for a photo shoot. The scent of vanilla lotion drifted through the apartment as she hummed and gathered supplies. Her brushes were laid out in neat rows, lipsticks arranged by shade, and next to them, laid over the couch like a challenge, was the outfit. I didn't know where she got it from. Maybe she'd been planning this. Maybe part of her already knew. A satin blush pink dress with thin straps and a lace bodice that shimmered faintly in the light. Beside it, sheer white stockings, a matching bra and panty set, and a pair of nude heels that looked far too tall for me to walk in. I stood frozen in the doorway, half expecting her to turn and laugh, to say it was all a prank. Instead, she smiled sweetly and said, "There's my princess." Something inside me fluttered. I wanted to turn and run, but I also never wanted this moment to end. She handed me the lingerie. "Go change. I'll be here when you're ready." I went to the bathroom and locked the door with trembling hands. I stared at myself in the mirror, heart pounding. My reflection looked confused, afraid, but underneath that, something else shimmered. Curiosity, longing. I peeled off my shirt and jeans and slowly stepped into the delicate fabric. The panties clung snugly, hugging me in a way that felt both alien and deeply comforting. The bra was a struggle. I had no idea how to clasp it, but I managed. The feeling of lace against my skin made me gasp. Then came the stockings. I sat on the toilet lid, sliding them up slowly, carefully, the sensation sending chills up my spine. With every piece I wore, the weight I'd always carried began to fade. I was becoming someone else. No, not someone else. I was becoming a version of me I had always been too afraid to show. When I emerged from the bathroom, Stella's eyes lit up. She looked me up and down, and for a second, her mouth hung open. "Wow," she whispered. "You really are pretty." My face flushed crimson. "Stop it. I'm serious," she said, walking over. She gently guided me into a chair. "Now, let's get you looking perfect." What followed was something I can only describe as surreal. Stella worked with focused precision, dabbing primer on my cheeks, sweeping foundation across my face, brushing shadows and blush with delicate flicks of her wrist. With every stroke, I could feel Alex fading. And in his place, someone softer, more graceful, more beautiful was emerging. When she glued on the false lashes, I blinked up at her and saw a twinkle in her eyes. She wasn't just playing stylist. She was creating someone. Lipstick was last. A glossy rose pink. She leaned in close as she applied it, her breath warm on my cheek. When she pulled back, she tilted my chin up. "Don't freak out," she whispered, "but you're kind of stunning." I looked in the mirror, and I couldn't breathe. The girl staring back at me had wide, expressive eyes, fluttering lashes, flushed cheeks, and lips that glistened. Her blonde hair fell in soft waves past her shoulders, thanks to the wig Stella had secured with surprising skill. She looked like a dream. And that dream was me. For a long moment, I said nothing. I couldn't. My throat was tight. My chest ached. I'd never felt so exposed, and yet so alive. Stella touched my shoulder gently. "You okay?" I nodded. I didn't think it would feel like this." "Like what?" "Like I finally recognized myself." She smiled softly, but didn't press. Instead, she handed me the dress. "Ready to put it on?" I took it from her, hands trembling again. "Yeah." Stella helped me step into the satin gown, zipping it slowly up my back. The fabric hugged my waist and flowed down in a soft cascade of folds that shimmered with every movement. I caught my reflection again. Now I wasn't just a girl in makeup. I was elegant, feminine, beautiful. Stella picked up the heels and knelt to help me into them. Her fingers brushed my ankle, sending sparks up my leg. "They might hurt a bit," she warned, "but pain is beauty, princess." I managed to laugh, though my knees were shaking. The first few steps were awkward. I wobbled, grabbing the wall for support, but Stella guided me gently. "Short steps. Keep your core tight. You're doing great." She clapped her hands when I made a full circle, without falling. "I can't believe you're doing this," she said. "I thought you'd chicken out." "Honestly, me too." So, why didn't you? I paused. My answer hovered on the tip of my tongue. Because I've dreamed of this moment for years. Because being your princess feels more right than anything ever has. But I just said, I guess I wanted to prove I could. Stella raised an eyebrow. There's something more to it. I turned away, suddenly afraid she could see right through me. After an hour of posing, giggling, and Stella taking a few selfies with my permission, she finally said she needed to run out to grab something from the store. Don't mess up your makeup, she teased, slipping on her jacket. I'll be back in 20. And just like that, I was alone. I walked slowly back into the living room, the soft rustle of the satin dress trailing behind me. Every sound, my heels on the hardwood, the swish of fabric, was electric. I sat down carefully, adjusting the dress over my knees, and stared at the mirror. For the first time in my life, I liked what I saw. I looked soft, radiant, worthy of attention. A small smile curled my lips. This wasn't just dress up anymore. It was discovery. But just as quickly as joy filled me, anxiety flooded in. What if she did know? What if this had been a test? What if she came back early and caught me doing what? Enjoying it too much? Looking too natural? Not wanting to take it off? I stood, pacing in small, clumsy steps. My reflection followed me everywhere. The girl in the mirror looked confident, but inside I was spiraling. What if Stella was disgusted by how easily I fell into this role? What if she saw this not as cute or flirty, but as weird? The door creaked. I jumped, spinning around. But no one was there. Just the building settling. I let out a shaky breath. Still, the tension didn't go away. My heart pounded louder than my heels. I felt like I was walking a tightrope, one misstep, one wrong word, and everything would come crashing down. As the minutes ticked by, I couldn't sit still. I paced back and forth, the heels clicking softly on the floor like a countdown. Every reflection, window pane, television screen, hallway mirror, threw back this beautiful stranger at me. But she didn't feel like a stranger anymore. She felt like me. And that terrified me. I ran my fingers over the satin fabric of the dress, tracing the outline of my waist. I turned in front of the mirror, watching how the dress curved, how the wig framed my cheekbones. A swirl of conflicting emotions churned in my chest: guilt, excitement, fear, desire. I wasn't just playing along anymore. I was enjoying it. Too much. I slipped into Stella's room, drawn by instinct. Her vanity table glowed in the afternoon light, makeup scattered like tools of transformation. I sat down before the mirror again, studying the girl I had become. Could I really take this off later and go back to being just Alex? Would Stella expect that? Would I even want to? I picked up a small heart-shaped pendant from the vanity tray, something she wore often in her Instagram posts. It still smelled faintly of her perfume. Without thinking, I fastened it around my neck. The cold metal settled just above the neckline of the dress. A perfect, delicate touch. And yet it felt like a chain. That's when I heard it. A soft knock on the door. I froze. It wasn't Stella. She would have just walked in. Another knock. Louder. I backed away from the mirror in a panic. My heels clicked too loudly, betraying me with every step. I reached for the door chain, but then hesitated. What if it was a neighbor? What if it was Ryan? What if it was someone who'd recognize me, but not like this? I pressed my back against the wall, breathing fast. The knocking stopped. Silence. Then footsteps retreating down the hallway. I waited and waited until I was sure they were gone. But the illusion was shattered. My pulse wouldn't calm. I felt exposed, hunted, like my secret was out there, just waiting to be uncovered. I stumbled back to the living room, nearly twisting my ankle in the heels. My hand brushed the wig's hair away from my cheek, but in the motion, the wig slipped slightly off-center. I stared at myself in the mirror again. This time, the image was unsettling. Half princess, half mess. The girl in the mirror wasn't perfect. She was fragile. And behind her eyes, I saw Alex peeking through, confused, scared, desperate to understand who he really was. I adjusted the wig carefully, smoothed it down, fixed the lipstick that had smudged slightly in my panic. And then I smiled. A shaky, brave smile. This wasn't just a dare anymore. It wasn't even a secret hobby. This was a truth I had never spoken aloud. I liked being her. The front door creaked open. I froze again, spine rigid. "Alex," came her voice. I scrambled to stand upright, nearly losing my balance in the process. I'm here." She walked in holding a small bag from the pharmacy. "Sorry, the line took forever. Did you miss me, princess?" She grinned, but paused the second she saw my face. I must have looked pale. Panicked. Her expression changed subtly. "Everything okay?" I tried to smile. "Yeah." Someone knocked, but they're gone. Stella frowned slightly. "Weird." She stepped closer, then noticed the necklace. "Is that my pendant?" I flushed. "Sorry, I saw it and it looked nice." Her eyes lingered on mine for a moment longer than usual. Not angry, not mocking, just watching. "You know," she said, setting the bag down, "you're a lot more graceful than I thought you'd be." I raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Stella leaned against the kitchen counter, her arms crossed casually. "Most guys in makeup stumble around like they're on stilts. You move like someone who's practiced." I blinked. My breath caught. She knew. Maybe not everything, but something. And yet she wasn't upset. She wasn't yelling or laughing or mocking me. She was curious. "I used to try stuff on," I admitted, the words coming out like air after being held underwater. "When I was alone." Stella's expression didn't change. She just nodded once. "How long?" "A few years." It started as curiosity. Then it just never went away. She walked over slowly, her gaze soft but intense. She reached up and adjusted a strand of hair on the wig. Her fingers brushed my cheek. "You make a very convincing girl, Alex." I looked down. "I don't know what this makes me." "Maybe it doesn't have to make you anything," she said. "Except you." I looked up, stunned. She smiled. But there was still something unreadable behind her eyes. Something she wasn't saying. "I've decided something," Stella said suddenly. "You're not changing back yet." "What?" "You said the bet was I get to turn you into a princess for one night. Well, I haven't taken you to dinner yet." My heart stopped. "You're not serious." "Oh, I am." "Stella, no, people will see." "Exactly," she said, grabbing my hand. "Isn't that the point?" I pulled back instinctively. "I can't go out like this. I can barely walk." Stella tilted her head. "Then maybe the bet's not over." I looked at her. She looked at me. And something in me cracked wide open. A whisper of a voice that said, "Do it. You've never felt more alive. You've never felt more yourself." I took a shaky breath. And I nodded. Symbolic scene. A girl in the mirror. Back in the bathroom, I stared once again at the girl I had become. But this time, I didn't feel panic. I felt awe. I touched the pendant, felt the silk of the dress, and smiled at my reflection. "I see you," I whispered. And for the first time, she smiled back. "I can't believe we're actually doing this," I muttered, gripping Stella's hand so tightly my knuckles went white. "You look amazing," she whispered as she opened the door to her car. "No one's going to know unless you give them a reason to stare." "That's easy for you to say. You've been a goddess your whole life. I've been a guy hiding behind a computer screen." Stella chuckled as she helped me into the passenger seat. "Correction, you've been my princess all day, and you've done it beautifully." I bit my lip, trying not to smile. The way she said "my princess" made something warm bloom in my chest. But beneath that warmth was a growing, churning storm. What if we ran into someone we knew? What if a waiter said "sir" loud enough for the whole restaurant to hear? What if someone pointed and laughed? I tugged at the hem of the dress nervously. The satin glistened under the moonlight, and the wig's waves framed my face just right. But I still didn't feel ready. "I don't know if I can do this," I whispered. Stella reached over and took my hand. "You already are. You've been doing it since this morning. And you're doing amazing." Her voice was calm, confident, steady. But her eyes were watching me like she was studying something more than makeup and dresses. Like she was beginning to see the real me, even before I did. The restaurant was a cozy Italian place tucked away in a quiet neighborhood. It wasn't packed, but it wasn't empty either. Just busy enough to make me feel exposed. I stepped out of the car slowly, the heels clicking against the pavement, and my breath caught in my throat. Stella slipped her arm around my waist. Posture, princess. You're royalty, remember? I nodded, trying to channel every ounce of grace I'd watched her display. Shoulders back, chin up, small steps. We walked in. The hostess greeted us with a bright smile, her eyes flicking between us briefly before leading us to a corner booth. She didn't blink. No second glance. No raised eyebrow. No judgment. Maybe I pass, I thought. But the real test hadn't started yet. As we sat, I noticed a table across the room. A group of guys, mid-20s, laughing too loudly over beers and pasta. And one of them looked familiar.
Ryan.
My best friend.
No.
Panic surged up like acid in my throat. I ducked my head, using the curtain of my wig to hide. What's wrong? Stella asked. That's Ryan. From college. Her eyes flicked over, immediately clocking the danger. You sure? Positive. If he sees me like this. He won't, she said firmly.
We'll eat fast.
Stay calm. But I couldn't. My hands were trembling. My heart pounded so loud it drowned out the music. And then, Alex. I turned slowly, ice spreading through my veins. Ryan was standing right at our table. I forgot how to breathe. He was looking at me with a puzzled expression, half amused. Is that you, man? Stella jumped in smoothly. I think you've got the wrong person. Ryan tilted his head. Wait, holy crap. It is you. I couldn't speak. Couldn't move. Stella laughed. Alex lost a bet. I made him my princess for the day. Cute, right? Ryan blinked, then let out a low whistle. Dude, you actually look kinda hot. He laughed again, but not cruelly. Just surprised. Hey, whatever floats your boat, man. Respect. You two have fun. He walked off, shaking his head in disbelief. I sat frozen. My breath came in short gasps. Stella touched my hand. You okay?
No.
He didn't judge you, but he saw me. Stella leaned in.
He saw you, Alex.
And he didn't freak out. Maybe you should stop freaking out too. Back home, I peeled off the heels first and collapsed on the couch. Can I ask you something? I said quietly. Stella nodded, removing her earrings. This whole thing, was it really just a bet? She paused, the question hanging in the air like perfume. Why do you ask? Because I feel like you knew. Somehow, you wanted this to happen. Stella walked over, kneeling beside me. When I dared you, I was curious. I had a feeling, but I didn't know. She took my hand. But watching you today, seeing the way you looked at yourself, the way you moved, Alex, I've never seen you so alive. Tears welled up in my eyes. I don't know who I am anymore. Stella gave me a sad smile. Maybe you've always known. You were just scared to say it out loud. Her words hit like thunder. And then, like a curse breaking, the wig slipped. Just slightly. Enough to reveal the edges. Enough to ruin the illusion. I ripped it off and threw it across the room, breathing hard. Stella reached for me. Alex. I'm not your princess, I choked. This was a mistake. I shouldn't have let it go this far. She looked at me, not with pity, not with disappointment, but with heartbreak. You really think that? She whispered. After everything today? I buried my face in my hands. I don't know how to live like this. Half of me wants to be that girl in the mirror forever. The other half is terrified someone else will see her and take her away. Stella pulled me close. And for a long moment, we didn't say anything. Stella sat with me in silence, her hand gently resting on my knee. The wig lay discarded across the floor. The pendant still shimmered around my neck. I know this is scary, she said softly. But do you really think this was a mistake? I didn't answer at first. My throat was too tight. My heart wouldn't slow down. I don't know what to call it, I whispered. I don't even know what I am anymore. I'm not trying to be a woman. I'm not trying to trick anyone. But when I saw myself in the mirror, my voice cracked. I felt beautiful. I felt me. Stella leaned in and touched my cheek. That's what matters. But it doesn't make sense, I said. I don't want to be a different person. I want to feel that way again. That peace. That confidence. That freedom. She nodded. Then why not embrace it? Because the world doesn't work like that. My parents, my friends, my job. Ryan saw me tonight. What if he tells everyone? Stella held my face gently in both hands. Let them talk. I looked at her, tears brimming. You'd be okay with that? With people thinking your boyfriend wants to be a girl? Her eyes didn't waver. What they think doesn't matter. What you feel, that's everything. She kissed me on the forehead, and in that quiet, the tension cracked. But only for a moment, because then, her phone buzzed. Stella stood to check it, and her brow furrowed. It's Ryan, she said. My stomach dropped. What did he say? She hesitated. He sent a picture. She showed it to me. It was blurry, taken from a distance, but unmistakable. It was me, in the pink dress, in heels, smiling.
Captured.
The caption was simple.
Dude.
This is your friend, right? Wild. I stared at the screen, my mouth dry. It's starting, I said. Stella quickly typed something, her face flushed with frustration. I'm telling him to delete it. To respect your privacy. I don't think he meant anything cruel by it. But it doesn't matter. I snapped. The second it gets out, it's over. Alex. You don't get it. I stood, pacing in a frenzy. People are going to laugh. Or worse, they'll think I'm broken. That I'm some joke. You're not, she said firmly. You are brave. You stepped out into the world in heels and lipstick and held your head up. That's not something to be ashamed of. That's power. But I didn't do it for the world. I shouted. I did it for you.
Because you dared me.
Because I thought I could handle it. And you did, she said quietly. I stopped. My chest rose and fell, each breath shallow and sharp. I don't know how to go back to normal after this, I whispered. I don't know how to pretend this didn't change me. Stella stepped forward, brushing a lock of hair behind my ear, even though the wig was gone. Maybe you're not supposed to. Suddenly, overwhelmed, I stepped away from her. I need to change, I said. I can't stay in this. Stella nodded. Okay, but before you do, can I take one photo? I blinked.
What? Why?
To remember today. Not for anyone else. Just for us. I hesitated, then nodded. I stood in the mirror again, dress slightly wrinkled, makeup still nearly perfect. Stella raised her phone. Smile. I tried. As she clicked the photo, the strap of the dress snapped. A soft tearing sound. The fabric slipped off my shoulder, revealing the bra strap underneath. My reflection was suddenly lopsided, exposed, imperfect. It was like the spell broke, and I began to cry. I can't do this. Stella lowered the phone, her voice trembling now too. Yes, you can. No, I can't. I'm not strong enough. I'm not you. You don't have to be me, she said. You just have to be honest with yourself. I sat on the edge of the bed, gripping the torn dress. My mom would freak if she ever saw this, I murmured. She's so traditional. And my dad, he'd probably say I need therapy. Stella sat beside me. What do you say? I turned to her. I say this is the first time I felt whole. But I don't know how to live that way. Out there. She took my hand. Then start in here. With me. We looked at each other. Not as girlfriend and boyfriend. Not as stylist and model. But as two people sharing something real. Something fragile. Something brave. And then, the front door rattled. Our heads turned. Another knock. Not gentle this time. Firm. Repeated. Stella's brows drew together. Who? I stood, frozen in panic. Alex, a voice called from outside. It was Ryan. Alex. Ryan's voice rang again, Firmer this time. Closer. He was right outside. I stood paralyzed in the torn dress, bare shoulder exposed. Wig off, makeup still nearly perfect, but the illusion was slipping. I wasn't ready.
I didn't want him to see me like this.
Stella touched my arm. Do you want me to tell him to go away? I didn't answer. I couldn't. My mind was spinning. What if he was angry? What if he felt tricked? What if he had already sent the photo to someone else?
My job?
My family?
No.
I couldn't take that chance. Another knock, this time louder. Urgent. Stella started toward the door, but I grabbed her wrist. Wait. She looked back at me. I'll do it, I whispered. Her eyes widened. Are you sure? I wasn't. Not even a little. But something in me refused to hide anymore. I straightened my posture, took a deep breath, and pulled the strap of the dress back over my shoulder as best as I could. Then I stepped toward the door. With each footfall, the pounding of my heart grew louder. I could hear the blood rushing in my ears. My knees wobbled slightly in the heels, and my fingers trembled as I reached for the lock. Behind me, Stella whispered, "Whatever happens, I'm here." I nodded once. Then slowly, I opened the door. Ryan stood there, looking confused, concerned, and maybe just a little uncomfortable. His eyes scanned me, down the dress, over my face, then back up to my eyes. I didn't flinch. I didn't look away. Silence stretched between us like a wire pulled too tight. Finally, he spoke. "Is this really you?" His voice wasn't mocking. It wasn't cruel. It was real, hesitant.
Human.
I swallowed hard. "I think it is." He looked past me into the apartment, saw Stella watching quietly from the corner. Then he looked back at me. "I didn't mean to out you, or anything," he said. I didn't expect it." I nodded. "Neither did I." More silence. Then Ryan scratched the back of his neck, like he was working up the courage to say something harder. "I deleted the photo," he said. "Stella messaged me." I realized it wasn't cool. A wave of relief flooded me. But I stayed silent. "I won't tell anyone," he added. "But are you okay?" That question, simple, honest, hit harder than I expected. I blinked rapidly, trying not to cry. "I don't know. But for the first time, I think I'm starting to be." Ryan nodded slowly. He opened his mouth to say more, but just then, my phone buzzed on the counter behind me. Stella glanced at the screen and froze. "Alex," she said slowly, eyes wide. "You need to see this." I turned. She held up my phone. A screenshot. The photo. Posted. Online. The caption. "Caught this wild scene tonight. I's pretty sure that's Alex from my old tech support team."
Hundreds of likes.
Comments pouring in. Stella's voice was a whisper. Someone must have saved it before Ryan deleted it. My knees buckled slightly. Ryan stared at the screen. "I didn't post that. I swear to God I didn't." But it didn't matter. The truth was out. The photo was real. I was real. The girl in the dress, the one I'd tried so hard to keep hidden, was out in the world now.
Exposed. Seen.
Judged. Or maybe finally free? I looked up at Stella. She didn't look panicked. She looked proud. "You okay?" she asked softly. And I didn't know. But I whispered, "I will be." And then from the hallway outside, voices. Footsteps. Laughing. Someone approaching. Stella stepped back beside me, holding my hand. Ryan stood behind me. And the door, still open, framed the night like a stage curtain. The next act was coming. I could feel it. I could hear it. And I had no idea what it would bring. But I was standing there. In heels. In a torn pink dress. Lipstick still shining. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't hiding.